Air is essential for us living things. Breathing is what we need to survive. We take in oxygen and release carbon dioxide into the air. And this is the process of respiration, which give living things the energy for them to grow, eat, and live life. As we all know, air is a constant pressure that we can feel but never see. It is known as a mixture of many gases, and oxygen is the second most abundant gas in the atmosphere. And with other gases, it helps and allows to maintain a sustainable life on Earth. We are the engineers, and come along with us as we tackle life and the air among us. Oxygen cycle is defined by a biological process of oxygen moving through the main spheres of Earth, which are the atmosphere, the biosphere, and the lithosphere. And this cycle helps to maintain the oxygen level on Earth. The oxygen cycle also demonstrates how free oxygen is made available in each of these regions, as well as how it is used. The largest contributor to the oxygen cycle is the photosynthesis, a process in which plants use carbon dioxide, light, and water to produce oxygen from carbon dioxide. As a result, the oxygen and carbon cycles are closely connected. So how does oxygen cycle work? First, all of the green plants undergo the process of photosynthesis during the day. They take in the carbon dioxide from air and water from their soil to make glucose and release oxygen back into the atmosphere as a byproduct. Second, all of aerobic organisms use free oxygen for respiration, meaning the oxygen released by plants is now taken in by organisms through respiration, including us humans. And lastly, organisms exhale carbon dioxide back into the atmosphere, in which is again used by plants during the photosynthesis. And now, oxygen is balanced within the atmosphere.
How does oxygen cycle affects air? The oxygen cycle affects air in the ecosystem in many ways. One essential factor is breathing, where oxygen given off by plants is inhaled by animals, and in return, carbon dioxide is exhaled for plants' use. Oxygen is also used for digestion and metabolism. It also contributes in various processes in plants like glycolysis, the Krebs cycle, and the formation of biomolecules. Aside from that, oxygen also helps in decomposition, where microorganisms use atmospheric oxygen in decaying organic matter in soil while releasing carbon dioxide. In combustion, oxygen is an essential element of fire that releases carbon dioxide into the air. Oxygen also benefits in rusting, where iron oxides appear around iron components in humid conditions for an extended period, and new compounds appear on the metal surface. What are invasive species? Invasive species are organisms, like animals and plants, that originate in a particular place that adapts to their new environment. They are transferred to regions by accident, water currents, climatic conditions, and most often by people. They can lead to the massive extinction of some organisms, destroy ecosystems, and change some of the functions found in biodiversity, like the oxygen cycle, which will be tackled in this video.
Researchers have known invasive plants increase carbon cycling, but they didn't know how. What they did, they studied 160 ecosystems with different combinations of invasive and non-invasive plants, soil, and insects. In these mini ecosystems with home, soil, and without insects, there was no change in how much carbon dioxide was emitted when native and non-native plants were compared, but 2.5 times more carbon was released from the soil if exotic plants species dominated the setup compared with native plants. Human impact on the environment includes changes to biophysical habitats, ecosystems, biodiversity, and natural resources. Human activities can cause damage either directly or indirectly to the environment on a global scale. Some of the problems have been proposed as representing catastrophic risk to the survival of the human species. Human impacts are a solid, selective force acting on native island biodiversity. If native species can evolve in response to these impacts, they are less prone to extinction. Introduced species such as lizards and plants can adapt to novel island habitats provided by humans. Resident species can also adapt to human alterations to their habitat.
Epigenetics studies how your behavior and environment affect how your genes work. These environmental stresses can affect how your body reacts to a DNA change, but does not mean that it could change your DNA sequence. In humans, epigenetics could be vividly seen in World War II, the last 2 years, 1944 and 1945, where famine and lack of nutrition greatly affected pregnant women, thus resulting in the newborn being susceptible to a subset of diseases. In plants, epigenetics is vital as they are dependent on epigenetics processes to function. Heterosis, a simple epigenetic premise in plants and is usually seen in hybrid plants, may increase fruit yield, heat tolerance of the plant and the fruit, and early ripening. Air pollution has been one of the issues the world has faced for centuries, but in 2020, due to the restrictions imposed because of COVID-19 lockdown, the air quality has experienced short-lived quality changes and has helped us avoid tens of thousands of deaths due to air pollution. However, the air quality has dropped again, whereas the air pollution have exceeded the safety standards in the first half of 2022, according to data from DNR.
Air. Acknowledge, initiate, and recover. These are the three main things that we must do in order to prevent the worst from happening. Everyone should acknowledge and should be made aware of the environmental issues that we are dealing with. With the worsening effects of climate change, it is crucial for humans to initiate and start acting as one and prioritize looking for practical solutions to prevent more damage to the environment. Governments around the world should focus on climate actions as a long-term solution to natural disasters and global warming. Air pollution is only a small part of a bigger picture, and those who are responsible should be punished accordingly. With enough and proper execution, a joint effort from countries around the globe to invest in a cleaner future would result in a much healthier generation. It is evident that human activities are the main cause of air pollution. In order to achieve the environment that we demand, the people's awareness of the current situation is an important factor in order to put pressure on world leaders. Educating people, both adults and young ones, on the current status of our Mother Nature provides a platform for the information to spread more quickly. This does not only urge people in power to think of solutions, but it also requires them to think of one. It is important to have knowledge and be aware of what we can do in order to help prevent an irreversible scenario. We just have to act now to recover before it's too late.